Hello, good morning. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Thank you very much for always following this program wherever you are. We're broadcasting from the Gambia, West Africa, and our studios on Kairaba Avenue, Serekunda. Yeah, so wherever you are, we are saying welcome to QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde, and I'm with Julden Jai. Julde, we miss you so much on this platform. Your fans and followers were looking forward yesterday to see you on this platform.
Good morning, Ibrahim. I miss you equally as well. Good morning to our viewers from wherever they're watching us from. It's always good to be back.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back here. And, you know, you can subscribe. Follow our social media handles. QTV, we are even on the TikTok. You know, you can follow us there, our Facebook page, YouTube. To get up to date information all the time. Whenever we are live, you receive a notification that QTV is live. Watch your favorite programs. Mr. Malika is our newspaper review guest. Mr. Ka, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on the platform.
Yeah, so it's good to have you here. Today we are doing some changes. Mr. Adedram and Mr. Mboj. Now we have Mr. Ka. And on the program, we'll take a look at the African code. From the code, then we will be talking to Emmanuel Toimbo. Okay. Did I get the right running order here?
Yeah, that's the one I'm having.
Okay, I think that's the right one. Julde, you can take us through.
We will be talking to Emmanuel Toimbo, who is a registered nurse, and also Marina Topri, social worker and sickle cell advocate, about the 46 years of immunization success. From there, we will also be talking to the Bakers Union. We are expecting Lamin Diba, Secretary General Bakers Union, and Ahmed Tijan Jallo, who is the president of Bakers Union, to talk about the recent announcement by the Ministry of Trade that bread prices will be increased effective the 1st of July.
You fullers are really concerned about bread.
It's important.
Since yesterday you're talking about bread,
huh?
Yeah. Well, bread is life. Bread is an everyday thing, Mr. Ka. So, the reason why I was a bit confused about this running order, Emmanuel and Marina, they were on this program yesterday. Yes, we talked about sickle cell.
I remember that.
We'll be talking about a different topic, 46 years of immunization success.
Let's have an update if that's the case. Francis, probably so.
Yes.
Hello, guys.
So, what we do, Julde will go through the proverb.
So our African proverb this morning, it's a Hausa one, and it says, a shy man is like a fish in a well, he never comes out.
A Simon.
It's like a fish in a well. He never comes out.
Inward,
An introvert.
Yeah, an introvert. Exactly. You don't come out of your shell. You're always staying in your comfort zone, and you're not lousy to come out. If you're shy, you don't. You have inhibitions about everything. Yeah. So you tend to be inside towards your shell. But people are different. Some people, their personalities is very exhibiting. Some people are very inward and shy. That's just normal in the way that nature have designed us. So that is why, some people, we have to accommodate them in the way they are. Some are very lousy and very loud. You can hear them from a distance. Some you can come the whole day and they're sitting down, minding their business. They hardly look at you in the eye. So these are different traits that we have. So it's just like a fish inside a pond that doesn't come out of that pond. I think that's my own understanding of the
That is basically the interpretation. Someone who is an introvert who does not come out of their comfort zone to actually explore, people that are content with the situation or where they are in life. Like they never bothered about really coming out and then explore to find other things in life. So I think the interpretation Mr. Carr gave, it's
but that is different from shy. There are people that do not move out of their comfort zone. They might not necessarily be shy, because shyness is just like, I think it's something, it's a trait that is different. That is, you are like, you know, very coy. Kind of, you just there, you cannot look at people in the eye, you cannot, you know, as opposed to somebody that could be lazy, somebody that doesn't want to get out of comfort zone. I think shyness, I don't know, you just maybe can elaborate. It's just,
you know, people are different. I mean, there are people that, you know, they are naturally shy people. I mean, introvert. But when you got to engage these people personally, you will know how talented these people are sometimes. I mean, there are people that, you know, once you don't engage them, they don't interact. I mean, but once you are able to give them the chance to interact with them, you will realize, okay, these people, you know, they have something hidden in them. So people are totally different. I see other people, but there is a famous saying, shy people, sometimes they are very dangerous people.
What I have here is they normally speak very softly and also hesitate to join group activities. Usually shy people, they feel anxious in new settings as well when they are exposed. Those are the traits that I was looking for. You know, they are, you know, they don't normally, they just keep to their corner. When you people are doing things as a group, you see them withdraw in their corner doing things. It's not that they don't want to join or anything, but they have those traits. So if you misread them, you would think that, you know, they are pompous, or sometimes you can misunderstand a shy person doesn't want to join. And some people are very quick to judge and say, doesn't want to talk to us. What does he or she think about him or herself? When it's not that person.
Some people can be shy to an extent. Even if they pass, they won't greet.
Or they look down.
Sometimes people tend to misinterpret that as this person doesn't greet.
Especially in our culture, if you don't greet somebody,
you understand?
No, but greeting at least you can, you know,
some
people take it personally sometimes as an offense, like, what does he think? But some people in group setting, they just like to. Sometimes they can be very smart and intelligent if you poke them and get the ideas.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I just said.
They
open up a bit. Yes.
That's what I said. I mean, I don't know for why recently.
But you are not shy, Balde, are you?
No, I changed.
No, you are I was the extrovert.
No, I was an introvert. I don't know for some reason. I am a shy person.
I can tell. I think you have that. You are shy.
Yes, I just adjust, but I don't know, for some reason it somehow changed. But I was
used
very
to be shy when
yes,
you were
very shy
quiet,
person. You know, I don't contribute a lot before when there is crowd. I don't talk.
Sometimes it's lack of confidence.
You know, I don't talk before. I don't know.
But sometimes too, it's the upbringing, the way you
change.
The way you are raised as an individual. You know, it tends to contribute a lot of things. Sometimes you're quiet, not because you want to be quiet, but because you are raised that even though you know so much, you should really calm down and then, you know, match with people. So I think,
Is it good or bad in our modern era to be shy, or you feel there are disadvantages or advantages to it? How do you?
I mean, there are advantages to it, but there are also disadvantages to it for the fact that, like, a lot of people tend to take you for granted. Take situations, your calmness for granted, and, you know, using that against you. So it's really bad compared to someone who is lousy, who talks a lot. Because in most cases, like you mentioned, a lot of people will not really take the time to go in depth to know what the real issues are, or who is who and what is what. But just because of the surface, they just focus on the surface and then make a judgment based on what they see, what they had, and all of that. So while as Balde is a shy person, you know, does not talk, does not say anything, for me, I am really lousy. You know, whatever comes, I'll be the first person to talk about it or say about it. Most people would just then, okay, maybe Balde is the problem. But not knowing that the person who is speaking up, who is lousy, maybe is just playing the victim card. You know, there are advantages to it, there are disadvantages. There are certain settings.
Normally people love you, they gravitate towards you because they have trust in you. Once they establish that you are shy, you know, they are more they're more assuring about around you, and they know that, you know, they have confidence and you're loved, you know, because you are harmless.
Yes.
You appear to be very harmless. You appear to be kind of, you know, yeah.
Yeah,
True,
so
yeah.
That is what it is. So at this point, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we can review some of the stories on the newspaper. We'll be back.
Ina fitora gol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi kiwmoni a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa e hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o kiwmoni apke song a wawa e nattinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda crédit soda kiw paaba soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa hen yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi ina wawi kadi nuldude kiwmoni yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka play store ma ɗum ka app store fi wawa fuɗɗade fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu Q-Money customer care e 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Thank you very much for always following this program, and to our one of our biggest followers, I mean, the Banki in Madrid, Spain, that of course, Ibrahim Jawara in the US, not forgetting our Filipino follower. We're saying good morning to you. How are you? Yeah, so let's move on, Julde. What do we have on the Foroyaa newspaper?
Okay, so we have the Foroyaa, the main headline on the Foroyaa newspaper. Are we getting the same one?
Honorable Suwaibu Toure. Voices sharp, okay.
Sharp critique on State of the Nation address
yeah, so
of President Adama Barrow. That was last week.
Last week, Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you have almost exhausted it by talking, but nonetheless, you just look at it fleetingly. This is what opposition parties are supposed to do. To nitpick on what is being said, to poke holes, and then, you know, genuinely sometimes come up with, you know, certain suggestions or proposals, and then look at the deficiencies of it and then analyze it. That is the role of the opposition, because the opposition is a government in waiting. So we expect them to have alternative policies and programs that they have to articulate and then acknowledge where there are development and progress in certain areas. So that is something that is expected.
I mean, it's important for oppositions to do certain things. It will make the government in place to adjust to certain things. But the problem will be when you don't want to acknowledge certain things that are going well. I mean, sometimes
well, that's at their behest, but they are not forced to, but they have to look at, you know, the areas, because you want to come in government, so you have to look at the weaknesses and then poke into those areas. So sometimes you don't give credit, but where there is credit, sometimes they may choose to accentuate it and acknowledge it.
Mr. Ka, let's take a look at the inflation. I mean, the president talked about how inflation is going down during his State of the Nation address. I mean, you know, probably to some level they are trying to adjust to see it suits every person living your livelihood. But if it didn't reflect on the pockets of the people too, that's another problem.
Indeed, you know, inflation is something that is checked by the central bank normally, because it is a fiscal policy. You know, you have the monetary policy and fiscal policy that are being put into place to check. But, you know, like you said, at the end of the day, what matters is how much you can get with your money when you go to the market, and those are the conditions that the people will reflect. But with all these fluctuation of foreign currency, sometimes this can impact, and also happenings, you know, so there are external and internal factors that can push or pull down inflation. So that is why government have to have a very robust, very solid policy, monetary and fiscal policy framework in place, so that they can be checking it and monitoring and giving regular update as to what is happening.
Exactly. Julde?
So we have another headline here on the Foroyaa newspaper. Called here is Crucial Audio as Government Spokesperson Faces Questions. That was yesterday. Ibrahim Maji Sankare and Deputy IGP Mamadou Sow appeared before the Justice Ibrahim Majaita at the High Court in Banjul to
it's an ongoing trial, and in law they say we don't want to subjudice.
Right.
That is making commentary with regard to the case. So it's an unfolding thing, so we have to wait as it evolves and develop. Yes, we can comment on the things that are surfacing in the media, but into it, you know, we don't want to subjudice them.
Right. So, majority leader calls for unified support for draft constitution.
This constitution is an enigma.
Really?
It's definitely been something that's been, I think it's the National Assembly that definitely should do something, let them come to an agreement, you know, because people really wanted that. When the change was ushered in, we are looking to develop new structures in terms of our governance and then move forward. But it's very intractable. They cannot agree. We've been through the motions of having, you know, consultation. They came out with that one. Now there is another one. They have to find the middle ground to really resolve this, because that's what the people expect and that is what they want. But it seems it's very difficult that they cannot, you know, they must demonstrate leadership and be able to give us what we expect.
Absolutely. So moving on to the Standard newspaper, Ibrahima.
Yes.
We have here government condemns Israel's strikes on Iran.
Yeah, of course. I think all the Islamic Ummah would certainly, and non-Muslim countries as well, I mean, definitely do that. I think it's about time now that the Iran-Israel is now, they're no more fighting. I think the focus should go back to Gaza.
Yes.
Because on a daily basis, on a regular basis, still they are being killed. And the embargo is still going on. So they have to put in pressure on Israel. I think Donald Trump should push onto that agenda to ensure that that also comes to an end. Let the you know, Palestinians enjoy peace again, and then they start looking into the way forward.
Absolutely.
So this is our story. Court orders IGP, QTV, Kirfatu and Fatu Network to produce video of police press conference on PRU shooting.
Yeah, well, our archives are there. I haven't received any formal request, but if they do, then it's no problem. We will just give them what is requested.
All right.
Yeah, so over 600 staff to live under Gamcel privatization deal.
Yeah, I hope they will be given a very good golden handshake, because for 600 too long we know that it is not a viable institution. The reports are there, and the cabinet approved the privatization. First, they had to separate Gamcel, and now they realize that it's owing to the tune of 200 million, and on a monthly basis operational cost to the tune of 45 million.
Wow.
So it's not a viable ongoing concern. And if you have that, you know, as a state, it's best to cut and run, leave it to the private sector to come in and then take ownership. But whoever takes it is going to take a lot of liability. It's not like something that is profitable as it stands, because the infrastructure
it's sort of a risk
all
also,
this. Absolutely. Anybody that is investing there is a very high risk venture. It's not performing, and the competitors are way up there improving on a regular basis. So, but this is expected when there is this kind of sales redundancy will take place, but they give them a good package. That is why their rights in terms of labor laws.
The advantage that the that the individual will have, probably the setup is already there, you understand? It's not more of, for the likes of Gamcel, I mean, the setup is already there. It's just a matter of coming and improving the service. I think that's the advantage that the person will have.
I don't know, you're talking about the staff that are being redundant. What package are they giving them? Those are, there should be, I'm sure there are laws and rights that will be protected so that they'll be given a good golden handshake, you know, you pay them for their service depending on durability, how long you've been there, and all the position and all that. But that's normally guaranteed and protected in law.
All right, Julde, any other thing?
Yeah, so NAM tells government to equip security forces before ruling out CCTVs.
Before rolling them out?
Yeah.
I think they can they are not mutually exclusive. Both can be happening.
Yes,
CCTV is part of equipping because that also strengthens
Yeah.
the security aspect of things.
Right.
So I don't see how, you know, that is, if he's calling for them being equipped, that is one area in which they're being
CCTVs
equipped. Because
are
it's
important.
the modern, you know, technology that, you know, can be used to, you know, apprehend culprits who are doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Exactly. I mean.
Okay. We still have another story. It's like all the headlines focus on the court case, but we have Drive Initiative. UNICEF delivers over 20 tricycles to the Ministry of Health.
And that's good. That will improve primary care delivery.
Yes,
because access into the rural communities sometimes it's not easy. But if they have those, they will facilitate in order to get to the areas that are a little bit challenging. You know,
Absolutely. It's an important initiative because especially children who are in rural Gambia find it very, very difficult to have access to healthcare facilities, immunization, and now that is this Drive Initiative came in place in order to actually bridge that gap to enable children in rural Gambia to have access to vaccines and, you know, to be immunized, because now we've seen that a lot of cases are coming up as now. We are in a stage now that where concerted efforts should be taken by all and sundry to ensure that whatever disease that comes, you know, people are really vaccinated in order to fight against it. COVID-19 came in and it taught us a very good lesson that vaccination are important. Even though Gambia has made significant strides, there is a lot more to be done as far as vaccination is concerned. So this is really a good initiative.
Indeed, I think they are registering a lot of progress in the health sector. And one have to acknowledge that, like you said, you know, so let's continue. It's a good trajectory. Let them continue ensuring that delivery of, you know, such services are important. A healthy people, it's a healthy nation.
It is.
Absolutely.
Do we have any more stories, Balde?
I want to avoid illegal entry. Okay. So, I mean, the Gambian ambassador to the U.S., I mean, want to avoid illegal entry or overstay in U.S.
We know that American things have changed now.
They have
listed countries in which, you know, their visas is restricted or sometimes even denied. It's becoming more and more difficult. That is why we should look inward now in order to develop.
Absolutely.
Rather than going out, you know, there are other countries that we can also go to acquire education. But, you know, America has always been the center, you know, of the universe. A lot of things happen. Good universities, good opportunities. The economy is buoyant, you know, but now is the time for countries to start looking inward to see what are they going to provide for their people to stay in, you know, and then there will be no need to be going out to look for anything. It's difficult.
We have also seen, I mean, the registering of different political parties recently in the Gambia. Elections are fast approaching, and we can see, you know, it's really going high now. You know, we have even the ADD party.
It's going to be exciting, but that's what it is about. Politics is about the selling of ideas to the people, and the people can choose. That is why they say the sovereignty of the people and democracy. Democracy, the beauty of it is everybody will come with different, you know, ideas, sell it to the people, and then people can make the decision as to whom they want them to govern for that duration until, you know, 5 years. So I don't have any issues, but most of these political parties, they don't contest. They would register and then go into a coalition. So I don't know what the objective is. Sometimes it's just for horse trading or to negotiate to, you know, get something in terms of, you know, being part of a coalition and then expect some returns. But you also have to have a threshold of registration, and the IEC would have had that. What do you meet? So people can be shouting that they're forming a political party, but in the last elections, how many were able to go through to contest? There were just few. So because there are certain requirements that you have to meet in order to be part of the, you know, fray.
And you know, interestingly, you can see the fee, I mean, to register a political party. I mean, it's becoming more expensive now. I think
I don't know why it was very cheap in relative terms. I think they can, in order to raise the bar in the threshold, They should definitely look
Mr.
to
I mean, it changed now. It went up to $1 million now.
That's presidential.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay, but political party, I don't know how much you require to.
That's what I'm talking about. You need to register a political party before you go in for presidential election.
Yeah, well, okay.
So it's expensive. I mean, I sometimes wonder, okay, how can people, some political party be registered? And when you look at them, probably they don't have those finances. I mean,
then they will not register. That's what we are saying. There has to be certain criteria, a threshold, you know, that will that have to be met before you become officially a registered political party. So if you don't meet those, then you cannot cross. You can tell the world, I'm forming a political party, but
I can remember during Jammeh's time, I think it was around 15,000. Now Jammeh moved it to millions, you know, so that the opposition wouldn't be able.
It's a serious business as well. It has to be, you know, sometimes. I know people say because it's democracy, anybody. But if they're diluting it to the extent that everybody, you know, then it becomes something.
Absolutely. You know, people can just take advantage of it and make it a money-making venture, and which shouldn't be like making money at the expense of the people. So I think the buy should be high to an extent that like you have to meet certain criteria in order for you to be qualified to set up a political party. If not, the political scene will be polluted, and I think that is, to some extent, that is what we are saying. Like every Tom, Dick and Harry can just wake up one morning without having any knowing anything about politics, just entering politics just to milk something out of the ordinary Gambian. So I think that is important too.
Exciting times ahead. 2026 is
I can't wait.
Let's see what will happen. Mr. Carr, thank you very much. We'll allow you to go, I mean, take your coffee.
Time already?
Yeah, so we can get our next segment. You know, we hope to engage you on our subsequent this morning.
Thank you.
Yes. So viewers, will take a short break. And after the break, then we head to the next segment of this program. We'll be back.
Taking a break isn't about stopping. It's about recharging for the next stage. Welcome to our oasis.
Powered by Africa, Oris Energies.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
QMoney imurundana nekoteke anila nyi mobile app sone yaringo alanna yata ndung ise kuol bekeno ibeda woda wati ise munafano ila kodola anin QMoney la nyi mobile app kuto ise kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde ise credit ko sanno ye QPower sang ye fengol sang ndum fanan ise mol jono anin ku jamalu ise QMoney kino yela bilol jo ndum fanan bantala banko se kodo kiyeno ise kodo fanan kino do kotenge kurke munafanyina a download sign Play Store anin App Store ni laftaka kuserengo sotoje QMoney customer care commandi 133 QMoney suñu kalpe ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma QMoney delsina ak sen mobile app bu bes bi orna gawna te yit mun nga ko jëfandikoo pour def ci lo bëgga fo mun di ne waxtu bu ne mun nga jot sa xaalis ak QMoney mobile app bu bes bi mun nga dugal xaalis génné xaalis jënd ci crédit jënd ci QPower jënd lo bëgga ak yu bari mun nga ci yónnee QMoney fay sa bill si jot xaalis bitim réew yónnee xaalis ci noo ko bëggee looy def yombana downloadal app bi léegi ca Play Store bu dul loolu App Store pour nga door pour am si lu leer koolal QMoney customer care si 133 QMoney suñu kalpe ñoo xaali yoon wi ñeneen toppa
QCell mooy suñu boss QCell mooy suñu boss QCell mooy suñu boss ko ebe da full network suda tili QCell ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata QCell most reliable network jumala keta wati QCell wo quality man nyon soda jam ona manke QCell hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria QCell sunyu boss nyo finjeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G 5G first and only 5G provider sunyu boss itela follow adi doron nesa keno sunyu boss Gambia bela nyon tawo fele QCell sunyu boss ko fasunta buka busi QCell sunyu boss itela multi milka kukutol nati Gambia QCell meda lori la kilianol yele imanyina amanda wala itela ka quality dila dadi ma itele silo wala wodol mume be keno ma QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss connection be bambandi QCell sunyu boss QCell most innovative QCell sunyu boss
Q-Money arti webi nafitoragol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi Q-Money a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o Q-Money app kesong a wawa nattinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda credit soda Q-Power soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa hen yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi ina wawi kadi nuldude Q-Money yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka Play Store ma ɗum ka App Store fi wawa fuɗɗade fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu Q-Money customer care e 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki
Taking a break isn't about stopping. It's about recharging for the next stage. Welcome to our oasis.
Powered by Africa, Oris Energies.
Q-Money is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new Q-Money app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy Q-Power, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send Q-Money, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q-Money, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
Q-Money imurundana nekoteke anila nyi mobile app sone yaringo alanna yata ndung ise kuol bekeno ibeda woda wati ise munafano ila kodola anin Q-Money la nyi mobile app kuto ise kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde ise credit ko sanno ye Q-Power sang ye fengol sang ndum fanang ise mol jono anin ku jamalu ise Q-Money kino yela bilol jo ndum fanang bantala banko se kodo kiyeno ise kodo fanang kino do kotenge kurke munafanyina a download sign Play Store anin App Store ni laftaka Serengo sotoje Q-Money customer care commandi 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning, and I am Ibrahim Balde. Now let's move to the third segment of this program. We'll be talking about the 46 years of immunization success, and we have Saharu Kante.
Yeah.
I mean, expanded program on immunization, EPI communication officer. Yeah, so we're supposed to have Jibril Gando Balde.
He's on the way coming.
Oh, he's on the way. Okay, yeah. All right. So how are you, Saharu?
I'm fine.
I think this is the second time
exactly
we engage you on this program. So
exactly.
How have you been?
I've been okay. We've been working hard at the program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to be back again.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's important for us to talk about this success. I mean, 46 years, it's not just 4 years or 6 years. It's a lot. How did you achieve this?
Thank you. This is through collaboration with the ministry and, of course, with other partners outside the Ministry of Health as well. If you remember, the last time we came here, we talked about how EPI started. We started in May 1979, and then since we started with 6 vaccines, but right now we're talking about almost 14 antigens. So, and then these are, vaccine preventable disease conditions, which when we vaccinate, we protect the child for life. So these are not medicine that we give when they are sick, but these are vaccines that will provoke the production of antibodies so that they will be protected against those disease conditions for life. So I'm sustaining a program since 1979 up to date and improving from 6 vaccine antigen up to 14 now is a big success, and it is worth celebrating.
Yeah. Recently, the Ministry of Health launched a program called Drive Initiative to boost vaccine coverage and equity. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, even though we have a lot of successes, we also have challenges as well. We have hesitancy due to misinformation. We have a lot of dropouts. We have some low coverages, and because of that, we are having some outbreaks here and there. And then these outbreaks are usually due to low coverages. So, and the coverages here, the low coverage could not just be limited to the misinformation, but sometimes also access issues. So sometimes some people really want to get the vaccines, but because the vaccines, the immunization points are very far from them. So the DRIVE project came to resolve some of those things. In sort of, it's just trying to ensure that we bring the immunization services to the doorstep of the people. So these are tricycles that UNICEF help us to have collaboration. We collaborate with UNICEF. And then we ensure we give it to what we call delivery partners, and then these delivery partners will be having this one, and they will be helping us in transporting vaccine from health facilities to immunization delivery points. And then after the distribution, they can also help in terms of transporting the caregivers from the outreach sites to their communities, and they will also have an income generating activity as well.
So how has this helped reduce child mortality in the Gambia?
So we just launched this one last week, so we have not yet evaluated to, unless we anticipate that it will really help. Like I said earlier, the vaccine preventable diseases, the antigens, when we give, the entire idea is to ensure that we contribute to reduction of morbidity and mortality. So when you vaccinate a child, you are giving soldiers or antibodies, if I in a layman language, antibodies to the body that will ensure that it will protect the child against the disease conditions for life. So if people are not coming for the vaccine, or because the vaccines are not reaching them, we are bound to have some outbreaks. Because for you to protect the community or a country, you need to have at least 80% coverage. So we see since 2020, in the advent of the COVID, we are having relatively low coverages. And like I said, these low coverages are not only due to hesitancy and misinformation, but largely also due to access. So this DRIVE initiative is coming to bridge that gap to ensure that vaccines are reaching the communities at their doorstep. And surely we anticipate that it will make some improvement.
So how are we going to do that? How are we going to make sure vaccines reach each and every community and on time?
So communities have what we call outreach sites. Okay, so every community, for instance, you say Fajikunda, for instance. So not everybody can come to Fajikunda. So what we do is we will open outreach sites in the communities. Let's say Nema, Fajikunda, Dumos, let's say Abuko. So, but like the ambulance alone cannot do that. So now you will have these tricycles that will have delivery partners. They will come to the health facility, pick the vaccine, and take it to those outreach sites where we have our officers, and our officers will start vaccinating them as well. But in the rural areas, they will not only transport vaccine, they will also transport other health communities, as well as human beings as well, yeah, the caregivers, from their communities to the various outreach sites. Because you can see in the rural areas, sometimes where you have the outreach site, it's not only for that community. You'll have cluster of communities that will also come to that outreach site. So the tricycle will also help transporting the mothers from their various communities to that central location for vaccination. So it's going to be a motivation. Because you find, for instance, if they don't have a donkey cart, sometimes, and then maybe the husband is not there, they are reluctant to go for immunization. So this tricycle is coming, the drive project is coming to bridge that gap. And hopefully, we hope it's going to make an impact.
It's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are the most notable vaccines that you're going to roll out during this time?
Actually, right now we have a lot of vaccine. Like I said, we started with 6, but every now and then, based on the need and based on the surveillance system, when we see that there's a disease condition that is coming up, we try to introduce a vaccine. Because you don't just introduce vaccine for the sake of introducing vaccine. You introduce a vaccine if you think that that problem is in country, based on our surveillance system. So because of that, from 6 to now 14. And right now, we are on the process of even the malaria application to ensure that we also introduce the malaria vaccine. So to answer your question, all the vaccine, including the other health communities, are going to be distributed using the drive initiative.
Okay.
So in terms of vaccination, like what I want to know is that there are certain communities that have never had any form of vaccine. Now, how are you going to ensure that those communities are in line with those that are in urban Gambia? For instance, those in rural Gambia, some of the children there, they have never undergone any form of vaccination. How are you going to ensure that there is a bridge in that gap? Because there is a lot of gap as far as vaccination coverage is concerned. So
I'm not sure if I'll agree with you on that line. I think usually what happens is dropout. They will start and they will drop out on the way. But if you look at access in terms of the force, the BAF doses, almost every community do get access to immunization services. It is along the line when they have conflicting priorities, perhaps they will start dropping out. But then every community, at least you have either a health facility or an outreach site in your cluster where you can go and then access immunization services. So it is only either geographical, challenge in terms of access, or socio-economic challenge in terms of access. Maybe you have conflicting priorities. So this is why also we try to improve our communication so that the caregiver will see the importance of going and getting the vaccine. You know, when your child is sick, you know that your child is sick, you can go for vaccination. You can go for and take an injection. But when it comes to vaccination, the child is not sick. You are trying to be proactive and then prevent disease coming. You see? So when they don't see the need and take ownership, they will not go for the vaccine. So that's what we are doing. So we try to communicate as much as possible and try to bring the immunization services to the doorstep of the people as much as we can.
So what impact has the immunization program had on the in reducing the mortality rate on children in the Gambia?
Thank you. This is a very, very important question. The deaths due to the vaccine preventable disease condition that we were seeing in the 80s and in the 90s, some of them are not only low, we are no more seeing them. When it comes to diphtheria, pertussis, hemiphalus influenza, and the like, we are not seeing them. Of course, we still seeing some disease conditions still now, but not mortality, maybe morbidity. For instance, we still have pockets of outbreaks of measles, and then measles by itself alone constitute about 60% of the mortality for all the vaccine preventable disease conditions that we have in this country. Yeah, but right now we can see morbidity, a disease condition, but we are not seeing mortality due to measles, and all these things are due to the vaccines that we are taking. We cannot do much outside the 14 vaccine preventable disease conditions. But any disease condition that is vaccine preventable, we ensure that we vaccinate the child, and no child in the Gambia should die of a disease that we have a vaccine for. And as a program, we will continue to introduce as more vaccines as possible to ensure that we protect the children.
So we'll be right back after the break. Jibril Gando Balde is already in the studios, so that we can take him in as well. So we'll be right back after the break.
Q-Money delsina ak sen mobile app bu bees bii orna gaaw na te it mun nga koo jëfandikoo pour def ci loo bëgga foo mun di ne waxtu bu ne mun ngaa jot sa xaalis ak Q-Money mobile app bu bees bii mun ngaa dugal xaalis génnee xaalis jënd si crédit jënd si Q Power jënd loo bugga ak yu bëri mun nga ci yónnee Q-Money fay sa bill si jot xaalis bitim réew yónnee xaalis ci noo ko bëggee looy def yomba na downloadal app bi léegi ca Play Store bu dul loolu App Store pour nga door pour am si lu leer koolal Q-Money customer care si 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ñoo xaali yoon wi ñeneen toppa.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Now, just to, continue with the conversation, we have Jibril Gando Balde, from, Minister of Health Communication Officer. And side by side, I'm Harit.
Yes,
Gulde.
correct.
I'm Harit dem na for Maleka for cow food.
It's a nice spot.
It's amazing. St. Grilled Fish is amazing. So Amharit is the place to be, Jibril.
Yeah, that's the other part of Jibril.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, let's it's good to have you. Okay. Let's talk about people's attitude towards vaccination over the years. How has it changed?
Okay, thank you very much, Balde, for having me, and my colleague here, Saka Saharu, who is the main man from the vaccination expanded program on immunization. So, as he have rightly mentioned, vaccinations have changed the lives of people, drastically, because when you look at it back in the 60s, in the 50s, going to 80s, you understand, it was difficult, for a mother to have a child first time or second time or third time for them to survive for first 5 years. It was very difficult. If you ask the elders, they will tell you this. And the Gambia, we have been an example in Africa when it comes to vaccination attitude. You understand, attitude towards vaccination, because when you look at it, since we introduced the first vaccines in the Gambia 46 years ago today, we have seen a significant improvement, in the lives of people, and even in the life expectancy have improved, because before Gambian life expectancy used to be around 40, 50. But since the introduction of the vaccines, it have improved drastically, and now we are talking of 65, up to 70, up to 80 years. So these have been mainly because of the behavior towards vaccination in the Gambia, because our mothers, we say kudos to them. These 46 years, and the reason why some of us are sitting here is because of the commitment of our women in the Gambia, because women in the Gambia champion vaccination. They are the ones who go to the clinic, take their kids early in the morning, even without preparing food, you understand, leaving their market, errands and many other errands, just to make sure that every month they take these kids to their clinics and get vaccinated. And when you look at it in some of the rural areas, where these clinics are held, they are very hard to reach. Mothers sometimes will have to climb on donkey carts, horse carts, you understand, just to get to these clinic sites. For those who are unfortunate, they will rely on their 2 legs to walk, sometimes kilometers. But all that have significantly improved, because now you don't have to walk 5 kilometers, you understand, to get to a clinic site. Even there is no hospital, what the Ministry of Health or EPI does is to make sure that at each circuit, meaning every 5 kilometer distance, they have a station where people will be gathering around those communities to have their clinics every month. These are health posts. They are not clinics whereby you have everyday health workers working in there, but they will be stationed in a very strategic village among the surrounding villages, so that end of every month, all the villages surrounding that particular post will be gathering at that position, and health workers also from the nearest health facility will have a team mobilized and then sent to that location. So nice. We have those spots whereby we don't have permanent staffs there, but we have structures. So these are places where when people have difficulty reaching hospitals or health centers, they will be going to these small health
And that's
posts.
Once a month?
So that is once a month. So this is across the country. So even if you are in the urban here, you know that here you know, you cannot walk more than 5 kilometers without a hospital.
Yes.
So we assign, you know, different, you know, areas, you know, to different dates to make sure that they get their vaccination. So attitude towards vaccination, as you asked, is very much encouraging in the Gambia. But what we saw is just after the COVID-19, it have affected our behavior towards COVID-19, toward vaccination in general. Because as you can see, my CTSAT is saying here, I got my COVID-19 vaccine. You understand? So these are among the last vaccines we introduced. If not the last vaccine we introduced in the Gambia, Saharu, I think. COVID is the last vaccine. So meaning that we have 15 vaccines in the country before COVID-19. You understand? We have polio, we have yellow fever, we have measles, we have meningitis, we have several vaccines that we have enrolled in this country. So COVID is the last, but COVID have done the most damage because as we know, COVID was not a localized thing. It was a global problem, and then, you know, there were global, you know, challenges. You understand? There were global anti-vaxxers, you know, not only those who against vaccination in the Gambia, we are talking about the vaccines, but even those scientists, you know, who are anti-vaxxers, you understand, also contributed in misleading, misinforming the population. So that have affected a little bit our attitude or behavior towards vaccination. But since the office is collaborating with the communication unit, we have embarked on series of orientations of health workers, of non-health workers, of community members to make sure that we get back to our glory days, where because the Gambia was known to be having 105%, 99% or 90%. We never came below 90% before the COVID. It was just after the COVID that our coverage started getting to 90%. But when you compare us with other African countries, we are among the top 3 always. So we want
currently,
to bring
at what
back
percentage are we? I think we are around 84%.
Yes, when you talk about the coverages, because the antigens are different, so you have different antigens, but usually we peg it at Penta 3. So we take Penta 3 as the yardstick, so we use that as the coverage for the country. So we are about 85% coverage as far as last year is concerned, but that's not enough. We want about 90% coverage so that we can have herd immunity. If we have 90% coverages, so even if you have a disease condition, it cannot spread. So this is why the 46th anniversary celebration that we did, we had meeting with the stakeholders at African Princess, and then the meeting was not about celebrating and talking about the achievements that we have, because the achievements are there for everybody to see, because the meeting centered on looking at the challenges that we have currently, and then how do we ensure that we close the gap to the pre-COVID period when we used to have 100% coverage. And then one thing that Ministry of Health that the Gambia has been proud of when we go outside was immunization, was the EPI unit. Because we can talk about all indicators, but when it comes to EPI, the Gambia flag has always been high. But since the advent of the COVID, we are having challenges. So that's why during the celebration, we had several stakeholder meetings to bring the stakeholders together and then see how best they can help us to advocate and mobilize resources, because immunization also requires resources. You just talked about the DRIVE project. They can also help us whereby we can use communication and then use their platforms, because some of those ones, they are also CSOs and they have platforms within the communities. And then we also wanted to use them as social and behavioral change agents. They themselves can be used as change agents. So we've looked at series of challenges that we have currently, including hesitancy, misinformation, socioeconomic challenges, geographical access issues, and then we came up with a comprehensive roadmap called an action plan, where each of the stakeholders are also committed to, in order to see how best we can improve the coverage to the pre-COVID period, so that everybody can be protected in the country.
So now, what are some of the new vaccines or technologies that the ministry intends to roll out in order to help the country reach the 100% target coverage?
So aside of the routine monthly that you guys know, going for monthly, because before everybody goes to the health facility. After that, what we did is we start having outreaches. After the outreaches, the new thing that we introduced is also expanding more and more and more. So if in a cluster, 16 villages used to come to one cluster, we ensure we further divide that. Every cluster only 5 will come, and then bring it as close as possible. What we also did is we also extend the time, because as you know before 1, 2 they say nurse watching, legi nurse do watch a bit before 4 o'clock. Then we also included weekend immunization, and right now we also want to include even night immunization for those working mothers. So if you go to all these main health facilities, even during the weekends, people are vaccinated. Yeah, the drive initiative has come. Apart from that,
and vaccines are readily available.
Vaccines are readily
110%.
available, including the private clinics. There is no private clinic that can buy the vaccines. Yeah, all vaccines are donated to the private clinics by the EPI through the Ministry of Health. So they are available all the time, even the refrigerators. So aside of that, we also have what we call PIRI, periodic intensification of routine immunization. This one is like a campaign, but different from what we know as campaign, because usually what we know as campaign, we will have campaign for one antigen, let's say polio campaign, measles campaign. But right now, every quarter, we will go across the country in all the communities inside the household to vaccinate them with all the antigens, including not only children, including all the children under 5 years who have missed previous doses.
All right. So I'm not sure you want to see all of.
We used to call it BCU, the big catch up. We want to catch them up. Those that we miss, we catch them up. And then also what we also initiated in the health facility is what we call monthly defaulter tracing. So our health workers will go they will check the records and see the women who are not coming, either call them or get their vaccine carrier, meet them in their communities and vaccinate them. We want to ensure by all means that we go to our pre-COVID performances.
Okay, do you have a school vaccination procedure for the students?
Thank you very much. Thank you for reminding me. As part of the PIRI, we also target the school, because I'm talking about under 5. Yeah, and then if you go to the ECDs, you have the under 5s there. Yeah. So we ensure that, because usually our mothers or our sisters, after 2 years, they will wean out the child from immunization. They will say, because you have another child. But no, now we call it a life course. Life course. So even if the child is 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, we will go to the schools and then we vaccinate them, ensure that we give them all the vaccine that they have missed. So we are catching them up. But of course, we also have a special program that we are doing in the schools, which is the HPV. That one is for the girls. Okay? So every quarter also we have the HPV vaccination that we will vaccinate all the children between 9 to 14 years of age, so that we prevent them from cervical cancer. But aside of that HPV vaccination that we are doing in the schools, the PIRI is also targeting all the schools, the primary schools and the ECDs, to ensure we vaccinate any child that have missed the vaccine. Because during the COVID period, there might have been a gap. Even aside from the COVID period, some people may not have, because people drop out. They will start vaccination and they will drop out on the way. So we want to ensure that we get those people. Because if you don't complete your series, you are not protected.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gando, is the COVID-19 vaccination still on?
Yes, it's still on because we just those pilgrims ñu jógee Maka ma balal ma laaka tuuti olof suñ mbokk yi déglu ko li yëfi noos la dafa am solo trop because jigéen ñu bari ñu dee dem noos ej na déggu li ma wax ni so am na solo comme say li ma wax ni ne nit ñi dañ dee teel a génne seen doom yi noos foog ne yow soo stopé di nampal sa doom rek soo feralee sa doom rek dafa war a fer si péngu yi sa xaaru li ma wanoon am na solo feral sa doom si nampal dafa utee ak feral ko si péngu because péngu bi diiri juróomi at la ko xale bi war a jël pour matal péngoo mi yëpp am na péngu yoo xam ne su xale bi amul like 1 year 6 months 18 months yéenay du ko dee jël am na yoo xam ne xale bi daf koo jël after 2 years ba 3 years mu ngi koo jël so yi yow soo feralee sa doom at the age of 2 years or 1 year 6 months so nga bay di ko yóbbu noos because da nga amee beneen xale boy toppatoo kenn su boobaa xale boobu noonu yaa ngi koo tere mu complete vaccination am bi so looloo tax léegi dañ dee am comme li moo wax ni faral di am health workers yoo xam ne every 3 months dañoo bugg di dem si kër ñi comme jigéen yoo xam ne dañ dee daw noos di tere feral seen doom yi feral leen tamit si lopitaan bi dañ leen a fekki seen kër yi te wax na fi ne léegi tamit dañ dee extend even the immunization period time bu ñëw péngu xale yi si lopitaan bi léegi dañ ko extend time boobu 2 o'clock da ngaa ñëw ñu ne la paak nañ waaye léegi dañ faa nekk ba 4 waaw ba pare tamit jigéen ñu dee liggéeyi tamit dañ dee make sure ne ñu consider leen so looloo tax léegi evening schedules yooyu tamit daf dee mën a am i 5-6 wala guddi sa ñu ngi koo plan nga xam ne health workers nañ fa nekk nga xam ne yow sa maas yi julde soo waree wàcca 5-6 wala 8 sax di nga mun a dem sa kër pik sa xale bi dem péngu yaa understand because xëy na amuloo ku la koo defal sa gannaaw so yooyu da ngaa gis ne miss out yuñ dee am comme da ngaa gis ne dinañ ko fatat te coverage bi fuñ bugga mu aaga Gambia fuñ ko xamee mooy 100% wala lu weesu loolu dinañ ko am because da ngaa gis ne péngu yi nekkut ne rek comme dafa péngu rek pour xale bi pour ñu just feel ko si kayiti noosam bi déedéet péngu yu ñeneen a jox noonu dafa am feebar yu bari yi ñoo aar te ñun suñ bàyyee xel suñ laajtee suñ maam yi wala suñ yaay yi dañu ko daan wax time boobu ngas su dugaan si dëkka xale yu bari la daan rey ñoo xam ne amuñ juróomi at polio time boobu noonu man suma morom yi ñu bari am nañ ñoo xam ne lafañ nañ depuis seen time yi xale benn tey lafañ yooyu moom lañ maagee waaye léegi from 20 years ago ñun gisuñ benn xale boo xam ne dafa lafañ because of polio li waral loolu mooy 100% coverage yuñ dee am ni in vaccination because polio campaign bokk na si campagne yu gën a fës si biir réew mi
polio
ñu nekkut health sax soo leen laajtee health ban campagne lañ dee jël vaccine polio leen yaa wax
kick polio out of the Gambia
kick nañ ko
boobu gisoon na time boobu flyer boobu dafa
loolu lañ daan def nga gis waa ji mu ngi
kick polio
so loolu nag nekk na dégg léegi because for the past 20 years to 30 years close to 30 years now lañ gëj a gis suñ last polio boo leen déggoon ne gis nañ ko fii boobu gisuñ woon ko si nit
waaw si siwéej bi lañ ko
si siwéej bi lañ ko gis
waaw
waaye pour polio boo xam ne si doomi aadama la ñu gis ne te polio bi dem na ba lafañ ko loolu ñu ngi ko géejee 30 years ago so loolu li moo firndeel mooy ne dëgga vaccine yi dafa am xeex bu ñoo def kon nañ leen jàppale Ministry of Health jàppale EPI ndi suñ ko defee rek suñ boppale ñoo jàppale
Gando
waaw
time bi jeex na
inshallah time bi duy musa doya Gando nag am nga yow mooma man da ngeen ma war di jox suma 1 hour bi ba pare naa ma promise 1 hour boo xam ne Mr. Ka keroog ma tajee moom fii nii ngeen ne health di ngeen ñu jox hour boo xam ne every week dinañ ñëw def ko ba pare ñu ngi ko follow up de
vaccination important na waaye mburu important na
waaw mburu important na waaye soo feebaree doo mun a jot doo dee dal mburu de
Bakers Union baa ngi toog de suñ fi continuer ñu lekk seen time bi ëllëg dañoo ne kenn bu mu naka mburu so kenn du dem kenn du ndeewoo
waaw laal nañ tuuti xel ba ñu laal tuuti ñu dugal mburu because man sa mburu lay uti su ma jógee fii
thank you very much for coming we hope to engage you in our subsequent programs and this is a very interesting conversation because it has to deal with vaccination in the Gambia and we all live by vaccinations. I mean soo seetee ñun suñ loxo yi fii yëpp mu ngi amee ay tappa ay vaccine yoo xam ne loolu yëpp time yi xale def nañ ko so thank you very much, thank you for coming gentlemen. Yes, at this point we'll take a short break. Mburu nag yokka nañ ko de waaye Bakers Union bi suñ ñëwee ñu toog fi dinañ ñu wax lu tax ñu yokka mburu. We'll be back.
Qcell mooy suñu boss. Qcell mooy suñu boss. Qcell mooy suñu boss. Go ebe dawa full network suuta tili Qcell ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata Qcell most reliable network dumala keta wati Qcell wo quality man nyon soto jam ona manke Qcell hani be wuloni farole kono walante be bakono jala fayola network ko se taria Qcell suñu boss ñofi njeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G 5G first and only 5G provider suñu boss itela follow adi doron nesa keno Gambia bela nyon tamo fele Qcell Ko fasunta buka busi QCell. Itella molti milka kukutol nati Gambia. QCell meta lori la kilianol yele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be kenoma. QCell sunibus sunibus QCell sunibus QCell sunibus. Connection be bambandi QCell sunibus. QCell most innovative QCell sunibus.
Kiumoni arti webi nafitoragol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi Kiumoni a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o Kiumoni app song a wawa nattinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda crédit soda kiw paɓa soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa hen yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi ina wawi kadi nuldude Kiumoni yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka play store ma ɗum ka app store fi wawa fuɗɗade fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu Kiumoni customer care e 133 Kiumoni suñu kalpe minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Now let's move to the last segment of this program, and we have the Bakers Union of the Gambia. I mean, the most anticipated topic, that is bread price, you know, is going to be increased, or in fact, it's increased already. I don't know.
The 1st of July.
you know, sometimes my dad owns a shop, so I go to my dad and I ask my dad, how much is bread? All the time I ask him, how much is bread? So I know he'll be wondering, why is this guy asking the price of bread all the time, as if I don't know. Yes, so we have Mr. Diba, Lamin Diba, the Secretary General Bakers Union, and Ahmed Tijan Jallo, President Bakers Union. Gentlemen, welcome to your program.
Thank you very much, Balde. Thank you very much, Julde, and thanks for always having us, and thanks for the invitation all throughout. In the interest of the public, we all serve. Thank you very much.
So what's happening?
Yes, what's happening, a lot has been happening and a lot will continue to happen. The Bakers Union, in consultation with the Ministry of Trade, the government of the Gambia, have gone through a process, a very clear process where all stakeholders were engaged, including the Consumer Consortium, who were represented in this. We've gone through a program where our inputs, that is production cost, were taken, and data was taken along that, and Competition Commission through their experts were able to run this data through a system, and together as a team we were able to agree to a conclusive price, putting the last consumer into context and their purchasing powers. That's what prompted the $12. A lot were anticipating 13, like it was previously announced, up to 15.
Yes.
But realities have spoken, and considerations were made despite the challenges we have, which we will further engage the government at another level to protect the consumers. But we are able to come together as a team through a structured approach, not like it used to be before, where we are able to agree to $12, which is formally announced, and it's going to start from the 1st. The process that will follow as the discussion unfolds, we will elaborate on that.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, as we are talking right now, when bread price increase, what is going to be the quality of the bread?
Yeah, like every time I can always reference to our first day's engagement. We've always talked about standards, even before talking of price. Bread, as it improves with price, it goes with standards. When we say standard, it has to be in a way where the consumer consuming will know that bread has changed. Not just by power, like that is weight, but also the quality of preparation. We are also going into a transition into that. Plans are already in GS, how to transform that and how to practically have it applicable in this country, because it's happening in other countries where the traditional way of making bread, since tapalapa, are modernized and are also supported to go through that transition depending on our city landscaping and population at cities, where, okay, at this particular place, this particular conventional way of making bread is what is acceptable, then we will modernize Tapalapa, empowering them with equipments where they can also go through that.
Let's localize this, because bread belongs to everybody.
Yep.
Amati Jan, yow yaay président bi. Bëggoon nañ tuuti nga wax ñu. Yokka mburu boo xam ne boobu lañ digmal si. Ndax yokka nañ ko ba pare?
Non, commencé.
ñu ngi ko war a yokka. Xam naa ne yéen a ngi kontaan de. The union. So wax ñu tuuti.
Bala Tijan di ñëw du kontaan yokka mburu.
Waaw.
It was the toughest decision both for the state and the Bakers Union.
Okay.
Because ñun ñu ngi si diggante bu nga xam ne ñu ngi si diggante suñ nguur, ñu ngi si diggante suñ members, te ñu ngi si diggante suñ population.
Dëgg la.
te dëgg bu fa nekk mburu mooy lu nga xam ne ñëpp ñu ngi koy jël. si anam buñ koy jëlee soo koy yaa ngi defar mburu waaye condition su fa nekk yëpp su méttee am na nu mooy méttee. ñu bugg a koy seetaan noonu comme niñ ko daan defee kenn bugut koy wax. ñun man ak yow ak keneen including my family sa family ñooy continuer di boarding si mburu ak jafe-jafe yi fa nekk because man dama koy defar because dama koy defar in a way bu nga xam ne at least naa si am lu si toppa lu war a dem ak yoon lu war a dem ak set ak lu war a dem ak qualité kenn du si wax so loolu lañ bëgg a mujjee difficult na ak nguur gi difficult na ak Bakers Union waaye lu nekk si kanam ba léegi ñun yëpp am nañ si jubluwaay am nañ si taxawaay te dinañ si war a taxaw make so du price bi rek lañ increase waaye ñu bàyyi xel lu ànd ak loolu.
waaw
wéet bi set bi ak lu méngoo ak wér comme loolu wax naa ko waxaat ko te dinaa continuer di ko wax te loolu la Bakers Union fas yéene taxaw te si loolu la ñuy taxaw ak all suñ stakeholders. ñu make so bread comme mburu nu mu mel si dëkk bi yeneen dëkk yi nuñ def ba àgga si level buñ nekk tey. Gambia of course am nañ that opportunity mun nañ ko mun nañ si nekk ba pare suñ population bi tamit seen wérgu yaram bi mun a taxaw parce que mburu mooy something lu nga xam ne at least everybody daf ko dee jël almost twice or three times in a day luñ si xamul for example di gluten content bu fa nekk chemical bu nga xam ne in one way or the other soo ko continuer di use ba pare stage la ñu ko dee continuer di use si anam buñ koy use te suñ koy defar si anam bu nga xam ne ànduk at weer di nga gis diabetic conditions yi di nga gis other health conditions so loolu ñu ngi koy gestuwaat bu baax as Bakers Union dinaa bàyyi président bi mu ñëw waaye waxtaan bi nu moo demee dinañ gën a leeral yeneen fànn yi nu war a leeral
Thank you very much Mr. Diba asalaamaaleykum wa rahmatullah and then asalaamaaleykum to the listeners comme noo ko waxee nii comme noonu laajte rek mbir mi du kontante waaye liggéey la te liggéey moom ku nekk si biir tool moom foog nga liggéey rek results moo gën a important because ñun buñ ñëwee almost a year now we have to go through a process boobu noonu mu leer si ñëpp nga xamante ni there is no hidden agenda buñ fa nekk engage nañ media houses yi engage nañ government bi engage nañ population bi buñ demee ba jël decision at that level make that announcement then government recall pour ñu dem through a process boobu tamit members yi ñu ngi leen a jaajëfal bu baax a baax that's our National Bakers Union members yi borom fuur yi even ci biir process bi bu mu demee ba métti liggéeykat yi si boppam ñu nekk si biir fuur bi ñoom si boppam ñu jóg ñu demand a wages out of wages dem ba teg seen strike def lu nekk there were so many challenges waaye with all that it doesn't distract us te yëngalu ñu si benn boor bi ko xam ne si luñ toppa ñu ngi koo teg si yoon pour ñëpp mun ciy gës seen boppa at the end of the day ñu mun a serve population bi very healthy bread because the way we consume bread in this country dafa war a change te tamit in bakeries also is not only bread we have pastry size we have cake we have other things that you can able to do to develop to another level the production side bi si boppam challenge bu fa nekk how to upgrade from this level bu nekk dem si beneen level bi loolu fu mu ne nii foofu leen jëm te dinañ ko engage with partners with government with members to make sure that production side bi upgrade nañ ko to that level nekkul mburu bi kese mbiri suñu waxee si mbiri mburu bi ñu bari dañ ne foog ne di out product balaa ngay am mburu bi fu mu war a jaar ba nga ko am foofu moo war a nekk si anam yoo xamante ni ku koy liggéey dina gis boppam ku invest foofu dina gis boppam te tamit ku koy jënd tamit dina gis boppam te loolu noonu is a process boobu noonu nekkut overnight rek nga ñëw tey rek nga dajale nit yi rek nga ne loolu dafa happen everybody have to be involved fu mu ne nii stage bu ñun as the executive and then the members fu ñu toll léegi suñ bureau de quartier yi foofu la process bi nekk right now engage nañ leen like yesterday won nañ leen naka lañ war a mën a delluwaatee am meeting tey ëppa doole bi most of them will be having meeting at their areas naka leen war a roll out this programme balaa on the first da ngaa gis ne léegi ñoomi neen dinañ xam ban façon mburu lañ war a defar quality bi size bi weight bi ñoom yëpp ñu dem through that because luñ fi fekka luñ inherited it is through apprenticeship léegi moom koo xamante ni xamutoon mbiri peese nga ñëw nga ne ci lañ boobu noonu léegi mu génnee loolu ñëw indi peese dafa difficult ci moom because moom nu mu doon liggéeyee ci loxolam koo wéyee mu def process bi ba nga mun a am mburu bi léegi nuñ ko war a liggéeyee that scientific way lu ñu war a liggéeyee that is their responsibility jox na leen seen responsibility boobu ñoom ñu ngi dellu ñu xool naka lañ ko war a mun a defee ba nga xamante ni kenn du mun a am foofu noonu jafe-jafe bu ëpp jafe-jafe buñ ci munti am si ñëwee si administrative side bi loolu is our responsibilities as the executive and then the other part of the union members ñuy engage si loolu noonu how to develop those laws and then pass it to them with working with the stakeholders that is food safety the regulatory bodies pour ñu mun ko implement te tamit dinañ set up a task force team boo xamante ni when it comes to inspection and all those things kenn du mun a bypass the protocols so loolu mooy tax liggéey bi mun a dem ku nekk tamit mun a gis boppam xam ne kenn nekku di jaay doole kenn te nu ñuy demee tamit ku nekk because liggéey la business la te lu ñu nekk di def dafa war a ànd ak quality dafa war a ànd ak so foofu noonu lañ
task force boo mention ni how often la ñoo def monitoring bi because dafa am solo in most cases suñ introduce something new compliance daf dee nekk problème ñu bëri dañoo stick to the old version of mburu especially weight bi because maa ngi gis fii seen four mu ngi war a am 160 gram for $12 si tapalaafa tamit 190 gram for $12 waaye ñu bëri maybe duñ ko respect maybe dinañ foog ne nit ñi duñ ko mën a wee pour xam so yéen loolu mooy seen responsibility comme noo ko waxee rek task force bi léegi how often ngeen naa monitor ñii pour xam ne ndax ñu ngi comply o nekkuñ di comply
ñëw si loolu directly task force bi monitoring bi compliance bi at the Bakers Union ñun am nañ suñ local structures yu nga xam ne already ñu ngi leen a won naka la ñoo defee loolu waaye si Ministry of Trade muy suñ line ministry am nañ an area which is mandated by law pour moom mu police loolu noonu mooy the Weights and Measures Department and the Weights and Measures Department dinañ collaborate ak ñoom closely through our community structures comme niñ ko commencé because am na yeneen area suñ buggee dem even out on announce for inspections because they don't know te duñ mën a dem si yeneen place yi dañoo coordinate in a way that's why ñun before even the announcement ñun jël nañ that responsibilities through our structures for example su Ahmad Tidiane nekkee around Bundung moom lañ fa def as the representative chairperson any area fuur bu nekk Bundung si kona bu mun di nekk su neexee borom mu nekk si biir tent kii xam na fa so authorities yi suñ ñëwee ñun as the Bakers Union su ñoo dem to monitor or to see or on announce ñu bëgg a just supervise other things dañ dee ñëw through moom mu jóobuñu si location si ñu dem so with food safety with weights and measures with every other person ñu nga xam ne dañ koy collaborate that's why mu ne task force dañoo ñëw together with mandated authorities and us to go through these structures and a system that will be headed by food weights and measures to make sure ñun toppa nañ yoon yi te toppa nañ suñ nit ñi directly through suñ community structures dem si fuuri to make sure ku nekk respect na nu mu wax ak lu ñu wax ak nu ñu demee the Bakers Union executive and the whole membership from the beginning even from the first press briefings suñ mun nañ fay reference we said and we quote again duñ jël loolu any light on anywhere with our members. Yes.
Okay, so léegi increment bi members yëpp dox nañ ci benn baat.
Increment bi ba léegi as we speak. su fekkoon ne National Bakers Union ñun ñoo ñëw rek without a process. comme mu doon demee ñu ne lii. yow mun ngaa nangu kii ñaakaa nangu am nu mu demee. soo gisee ñu use process them through the authorities. For example nañ use transport for example. transport union ku nekk moo jënd motoom defa sa essence nga teg ko si yoon bi di daw waaye transport fares ñan ñoo ko regulate mooy the government through its line ministry moom rek moo am that doole ak mandate waaye as a union am na doole buñ am in collaboration with them to make sure it is implemented so that is why the government is at the forefront tey pass bi nga xam ne $12 la for example at an area xale bu ndaw sax soo ko jëlee pour yóbbu ko nga ne ko $15 the next police stop mun naa wane kii lii ak lii su fekkee da nga reluctant so mburu tamit that is why first it has to come from the government lu mu wax it is this suñ members yi everybody kuy déglu ni the rate bu ñu wax $12 at the gram, everybody have to sell it at $12. You can decide to be down. Okay, it's not at the weight, but you cannot cheat that weight and want to sell it to people at that price. We will not compromise, the government will not compromise it, the union will not compromise it. A free market, numel, okay. Munga def comme other bakeries, I will not mention bakeries, comme ñu nekk di def. Ñu ngi defar mburu certain qualities, with certain products bu ànd ak wér. Ñoom ñu ngi koy jaay more than that. It is applicable. But putting the last person's economic position or powers into context, $12 is the baseline. The $12 baseline boobu noonu waruta dem below weight bu nga xam ne loolu lañ recommend. It's enforceable by authorities, it's enforceable by ñun the Bakers Union, te dinañ use structures si yoon ak luwa lu ñu jox to make sure suñ members yi ak population bi am nañ luñ deserve. Dinaa code si consumer protection guy bi Alpha mu ne Mr. Diba xam ngeen ne yéen seen nit ñi dañ ñu yaaga cheat bu ñu yóbbee mburu at this level yéen a ngi doon def lii. The reality is dem nañ bu ñu demee ba toog ak suñ chef de quartier ñu ne ñun dinañ def suñ kéemtalaay kattan suñ ne mburu dañ yokka price ñun comme nuñ ko waxee I will quote verbatim comme si meeting bi nuñ ko waxee men joɗata ko minen kadi min jetta aha yimɓe si min haali poids minen noon no min gollirta e poids min faami min maîtrise ɗum en tant que technicien no min gollirta e jungo amen minen min waɗa e ɗum ɗon kono peese on kon haali on ɗon ko programme mo annduɗa min aroya e ɗum ɗon kono haala noon min gram no o woniri minen no min famiri e sako no min gollirta e sako min waɗay mburu on o labat mburu on labama te o joga e poids ko o foti jogude te kala yiiɗo mo o anda e oɗo ko mburu ɓeeɗuɗo poids so ɗum ɗon min haalay ɗum ɗon clearly. Another challenge that we also have in the Gambia, we have model in other countries where we have seen formal training schools. We have the Bakers Union in collaboration with some of those big companies and factories who manufacture bakery products and bakery materials. Nakalan collaborating, including an international high standard school at Morocco, how it is partnering directly with the Bakers Union in a gap that is capacity. So they get you need them all the time, the import human resources. Sinyo Wesimburu. There is a chief baker in your bakery. So ko buge dan koy dem outsource to another place. Minimum si process bu mo dem yagut. A chief baker that I intend to engage from another country is charging minimum 40,000
for
a month.
For a month.
40,000
to bake for you.
To bake for me. Te ko so ko fay 40,000. Kenen mo nek asironam.
Okay.
Okay, mu mol ko train ko through apprenticeship kooku mun laa defal loolu in case kooku su demee nga mun a am ku nga xam ne Gambien la so fii nii as a country am nañ young people ambitious enough to embrace this trade professionally and it's lucrative.
It's lucrative.
It's lucrative. So ñu ngi work on partnerships yi nga xam ne the government will put it to their attention through our line ministry to also collaborate like the Senegalese and other people are doing with training authorities ñu mun a empower suñu youth professionally. ñoom tamit ñu mun a liggéey ñu mun a am te suñu ñeneen ñi ñu go through trainings as well ñu mun a liggéey. Currently, for example, the Senegalese Bakers Union and also other people, for example, with their government, the enterprise unit, they've already signed a memorandum through the support of the government for at least 200 young people through a training and fully paid with that institute, 40 per batch. That 40 is coming from regions and structures. Nekku ne da nga ñëw ñu train la pastry rek or bakery bread rek dañ la train global to standard both pastries ak mburu as a qualified person. For example, 10 mu jógee Basse, 10 mu jógee North Bank, 10 mu jógee Banjul. Those 10 are natives of that place.
True.
Nga train leen to a level suñ paree su nekkut Basse sax waaye dina nekk a citizen of this country ku nga xam ne is highly qualified mu ngi fi mu ngi liggéey te dinañ gis bread nu mooy transformé to another level.
léegi finally am time bi jeex na July 1st la moo start dañ bëggoon rek ñu close loolu noonu wax ñu si tuuti.
July 1st boobu before the day membership they are all aware, the public is aware. This is the first time in the country bread mu war a dem to another level boo xamante ni everybody will be aware and then prepared for it. Amul kenn kuy xuloo keneen expect guñ loolu from the general public, expect guñ loolu from our bakeries and then expect guñ tamit authorities bumping into that activity that very day. So everybody should be calm because soo waxee mbiri lekka foog nga bàyyi xel ñu koo jënda ak ñu koo defar ak nu muy demee especially ñu koo distribute from the bakery to the last end pour boo gis ne lii si kii la jógee wala si kali la jógee ku nekk we are expecting everybody to be law abiding so that's our expectation from the general members and then the population at large.
That's the expectation, but there will be a high surveillance, like we will also say, through the union and through the Ministry of Trade and the Weights and Measures Department. Even to our members, the surveillance strategy up to now we have not unveiled it to them, they didn't go unveil to them. Te ñun dinañ jël that responsibility.
No, yéen soo leen ko waxee Bakers Union bi suñu waxee loolu dama ko góom because you I mean yéen bokk ngeen si union yoo xam ne they are very serious. You know, because dañ dee toog dañ dee waxtaan te gis nañ naka ngeen dee mun a taxawee to make sure those things they all work. So if you say it, I will believe it.
We will do our best.
Wow, so thank you very much, Mr. Lamin Diba, Secretary General Bakers Union, and Ahmad Tijan Jallow, the President of the Bakers Union, and we hope to see the reaction of the people by July 1st.
Thank you very much.
Dinañ dem si biti ñu laajte nit ñi tam naka ngeen gisee mburu bi yokka nañ ko ñu déglu leen.
Ba disa bi méngoo na
ak ñu déglu leen.
Exactly.
Yeah, so thank you, Julde.
This is all we have
for today.
Until we come your way tomorrow for another edition.
Until then, enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.